Got to travel with notice.
So, a question I'm basically going to ask everybody in each panel, and just try to, there's no right or wrong answer. Your opinions on the state of the genre right now, whether it's a book, whether it's movies, whether it's, you know, any of the various new mediums coming out. Yeah, you happy with it? Do you look at, you know, let's take movies as a specific, do you look at, like, you know, the latest trailer and just gag, you know? Are you upset about the 10 million remakes coming out of, you know?
The remakes are killing the genre.
Yeah.
Because every time they make a, you know, $50 million remake, well, they could have made several brand new movies. Just nobody wants to take a chance on something new. They just want to make their money back, and they figure out build an audience. Plus, it gives them a reason to release a Blu-ray now. So
That and they tend to veer off from some of the stuff that made the originals great to begin with.
yeah, Halloween, I love Rob Zombie to death. Don't get me wrong, but Michael Myers is just supposed to be evil. I don't need a reason why he was evil. I don't know he came from a broken home. I don't need to know that he wasn't hugged enough.
Yeah.
They gave him an excuse now. There's an excuse why he was evil. No, there wasn't an excuse to be evil. That was just he's fractured. Michael Myers is just supposed to be shit. He's evil, and there's no reason. That's scarier than anything. He's evil, and he doesn't have a reason to be. He just likes it.
That was I think one of the biggest complaints about the remake of the Nightmare on Elm Street, more than anything, is you just needed to know that he was a really bad guy and this happened to him. You didn't have to delve really into the backstory.
When you explain it too much, it just takes away from it.
Absolutely.
It made it a completely different movie.
It really
different
did.
character. I mean, so it's almost, he's become almost like Frankenstein, which is now the monster that is seeking revenge, and he wasn't like that.
And that's exactly what happened. There was almost, you know, a lot of people that I had talked to, and a lot of reviews and everything that I wrote online, are like, I don't want to feel bad for him. Don't try to make it ambiguous where we're not sure anymore. Is he really that evil, or is he just misunderstood? I liked what he was. Let's move along, you know.
He's stabbing people and laughing sadistically.
Exactly.
That's brilliant.
Exactly.
As a vampire novelist, and hopefully filmmaker one day, I'm working towards it, I have to say that I'm bored to death with my genre. I do.
If I see one more female vampire named Lilith, I think I'm just going to scream.
No doubt.
I can't do it anymore.
And every vampire comes from the WB.
Yeah.
And they all look normal.
Oh no, they look good.
They do. They look really good, but they look
normal.
like
They look
fleshy,
good.
normal, and are hot, and
they
you know they don't look
sparkle.
slightly dead at all. And I'm just like thinking, what happened to something that
Count Chocula scares me more than these
No
people.
shit.
I mean, really.
Count
They're
Chocula.
They're not even like angry or anything anymore. Everybody's crying about something.
Why would they be angry? They have perfect hair. Why be angry?
I mean, I would be angry if I was fucking Edward Cullen and I had to go to high school for 7 fucking years. I would be taking a shotgun to school going, fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck about drinking blood, man.
Oh, and then they fuck up the werewolves too.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get me started on that.
They fucked up the werewolves.
too.
They
Yeah.
totally fucked up the werewolves. So yeah, I'm a bit disappointed. Just a little bit.
Yeah, but you know, it's funny though. It seems that authors, pretty much all the vampire books I've read recently, all the authors have totally bucked that trend and have gone back to the vampire. He's scary. He's a monstrous.
But they're not making $50 million a year yet.
And that's the funny thing.
Until that
is-
happens, the mainstream kickback is not going to occur.
Absolutely.
I didn't choose to read one of those sections, but one of my main characters, Z, she's a murdering bastard. She's a bad seed, period. She enjoys killing people, drinking their blood, and when she gets done, she'll just sing a Hank Williams tune. I mean, she likes that death dance. And that's just who she is.
Well, the indies are what's going to save both the written and the movie genre.
Absolutely.
And really, now it's the foreigners that are really picking up the foreign films, especially in the zombie genre. You've got One of the Dead coming out, the first Cuban zombie movie. I'm just chomping at the bit to see that one. You know, you've got Grave Bandits, the first all Filipino made zombie movie, all Filipino cast.
Horde?
That's coming out. The La Horde, that was a
great.
fantastic. Well, the French have never shied away from being pretty violent with their movies.
Great
So
stuff.
we got that was fantastic.
It was.
But that's what it's going to save it. It's going to be the indies and the foreign movies are going to have to come back up and tell us, hey, America, remember guys used to make good movies? Remember when you made good horror movies? Wait, let me remind you. See this? You know, that's what's going to save us all. So.
Don't you think it's kind of the South Park did the parody with the goth kids and the wannabe Twilight vamps? We have to take back our genre.
We do.
Those of us who write it, who enjoy it, all because it's become the in trendy thing. And as soon as it became the in trendy thing, it watered down across the board.
Yeah. And they took the horror out of horror.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And what they need is just some really good old-fashioned maniacs fucking people up.
And in a way, really, if they did the remakes properly, they'd have that.
Yeah.
You could show the kids today why you were supposed to be afraid of Jason, why you shouldn't go in the water, why, there's a lot of things, that the kids with the new effects on they can do would be great. And the first remake started out like, hey, this will be fun. And then I went, oh God, this has gone horribly wrong. And it just kept going.
Yeah,
It's because nobody has imagination. Young people in general have no imagination.
It's
you have
the
to give
retreads.
them backstory and descriptions, and my view of a book might be completely different than your view of a book, but we at least understand the characters and stuff. But you have to explain everything to the most minute detail to young people today because they have no imagination, and they're making movies for those people.
I blame video game cutscenes. When I was a kid, there was no cutscenes, and now you have 20-minute cutscenes, and that just fills up everything. When I was a kid, as a video game, I was like, why is Contra going after this guy? It doesn't matter, just kill shit. So, now everyone wants to know all this cutscene backstory.
Pitfall never actually ended.
That little fucker's still running today. He's still jumping on crocodile heads today.
It's an awesome game.
And poor Frogger never did get the fuck across the road.
Well, every time he did, there was just another road.
Another road. After a while,
It's some kind of hell, which we can talk about in another panel.
Yeah.
And Tuvok will never get
And Tuvok will never get home.
That's it. Any questions from any of the attendees? Anyone?
What about Japanese horror? Do you have any recommendations?
Are you asking, just in general?
In general, all three of you.
I'm a big fan. I know this movie's been out for a while, but the movie The Host, I think, is one of the most brilliant monster movies to come along in the past decade. And it actually kicked America's ass with the whole, but I guess that's Korean, so that's not Japanese, so I'm going to shut up.
I recently saw, it's Japanese, the anime version, but High School of the Dead. And that was different. And of course, you have to understand it's Japanese anime, so they're going to be little girls with impossibly large racks and very short skirts. But once you get past that, it's like they took the best parts of our American genres for zombies and kind of tossed them all together in there, and it was fairly well done. And that's what I think a lot of the Japanese are doing, is that they looked at what America was doing and went, you know what, we can actually make that scary again, guys, and if you can read some subtitles and not remake our movies with Sarah Michelle Gellar, we'll give you more of them, and that's what they've been doing. But a lot of the Japanese problem, though, is that as Americans, we don't have a reference for why somebody walking backwards on their hands and knees screaming like a cat should scare us. We look at it and go, okay. But then again, most Japanese children especially don't understand why somebody wearing a white bedsheet and saying boo is supposed to be scary. We don't have the cultural reference. So if you do a little bit of research, you can get something out of Japanese horror, but you got to understand why this is scary, because we don't have that culture. We don't know why it's supposed to be scary.
Clyde, anything more
I
to
got
add?
nothing to add. I just watch a movie. If I like it, I like it. I don't care where it came from.
Machine Girl rocks.
Machine Girl does rock. Absolutely does rock.
And I've queued
Tokyo Gore Police.
I watched the beginning and I haven't finished it yet, so I can't comment.
It wasn't bad, but they spent way too much money on the blood. It was
They love
12 gallons over here. And
But there's same people who did Machine Girl. I think it's Zombie Girl versus Frankenstein Girl or something like that.
Vampire Girl
yeah.
versus
Yeah.
Frankenstein.
I've queued it. I haven't watched it yet. I'm looking very
Yeah,
forward to
there's
that.
a great talk about excessive amounts of blood. Very Singing in the Rain kind of blood scene.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. pretty funny.
And I hope they don't remake that movie. They just need to re-release this thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
God, that's a perfect film right there. Can't mess with Kubrick.
Any other questions from anyone? Anyone? I'll move on to some more of my questions. We got a few minutes left here. So you're knee deep in whatever your process is, whether it's having your tea on Saturday mornings, writing at the diner. You hit the wall, you got writer's block. Has it happened to you? What did you do to get around it? Start with Clyde, we're putting you on the hot seat.
Writer's block as, oh, that's horrible, and delete. Nothing really else to do except to just push through it. Just keep typing, even if it's nonsense, and eventually it'll all start to click again.
Just keep going until it works
Just
itself
keep
out.
going, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Whether you got to move off the project you're on and go to another one, just keep writing. You might have to throw away the first 3,000 words of something you wrote. Oh well, you're still in the process, and that you got to push through it. That's all you can do.
I'm a little bit different in that. I've never really had writer's block per se, but I have written myself into a corner that I didn't know how to get out of. And so when that happened, I stopped, I turned the machine off, I went for a walk, I saw a movie, and in 2 days the answer arrived. I just let it, I realized that for part of my process that it doesn't make a difference what I'm doing, I'm thinking about this. It's in the back of my mind, it's percolating. My whole physical form is cooking this story. I just need to let it come to the surface, and then I can write.
When it's ready, it's ready.
It's ready, yes.
What inspires you? What is your muse? Where did these books come from? Where did these stories come from? Was there any one thing that made you sit down and said, I need to write this because of that? Or is there a trigger?
There's lots of triggers. I mean, for each book, each story I have is a different trigger. But ultimately, I mean, I'm sure these guys would even agree, but we're compelled to write. So we're looking for things to write about. We're currently working on something to write about. I mean, our whole being is just open to that process, to sit down, whether it's with a pencil or with a computer. We're open.
A note on that, the compelled to write, kind of off topic, but I had someone at my day job tell me when the last writer's strike was going on, and they're like, oh, but once the strike is settled, then we're going to have all this time for them to write new stuff. And I'm like, you don't understand, do you? I said, just because they're on strike doesn't mean they're not still writing.
Yeah.
I said, it's because it's what they do. It's not just their job, it's part of their existence. They'll go out and do their picket line thing, but then they're going to go home and write.
They didn't all just.
So when the strike's actually settled, you're actually get the exact opposite. They're going to flood the market with stuff because they've had no place to take it to,
Yep.
no place to put it. But like as far as this book in particular, what I looked at was a lot of the zombie stories, movies, either put you right at the very beginning of it, when the outbreak first hits, or put you at a time far past it where the Earth's decimated and we're just following some survivors around. Whereas this one kind of puts you right in the middle, where the apocalypse really didn't happen. It kind of got stalled and stopped, and we just tried to push it away from the American consciousness and out of our minds by basically walling it off and hiding it. So I looked at these and I was like, I really can't think of too many that were right in the middle, that the whole world didn't go to hell, just a little part of it did. And then we can really figure out what to do with it. So they just kind of wall it off and try to forget about it. Just like we do with most any disaster we have.
Clyde, want to add anything to
Just
that?
in terms of triggers, anything I find interesting, it gets written down somewhere. Notebooks, pieces of paper, napkins, anything I have handy. And then one day, if I don't have something that I'm working on at the moment, I'll flip through all those pages, see if anything jumps out at me and goes, okay, write me now. It's about
My
it.
turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Looking at it from the other side now, what sells a book to you? You're here at the con, you're walking up and down the aisles. Is it just the cover? Or is it you pick up the cover because it was somewhat interesting, or maybe you thought it was the worst cover you'd ever seen in your life, and what kind of piece of junk am I looking at? And you picked it up, turned it around, and read it. and went, wow, that actually sounds cool, what sells it?
I think it comes down to, for me, it's what am I interested in reading right now? I mean, I'll go through phases where all I want to read is just sci-fi material, and then months where it's just horror and just fantasy. And I'll pick up anything from that genre when I'm in that mode, and just look at it, and if it looks interesting enough, I'll take it home with me.
Reviews influence you at all?
Not so much.
No.
No. I'll scan them, see what they say, and I don't know. I find that everybody's opinion is different. Everybody's opinion is valid in their own way. So I may not agree with their opinion. I may agree with their opinion. I won't know until I've actually read the material myself.
Eric?
Really, it's pretty much just as he said. It depends on what I'm in the mood for. Sometimes a cover might grab me. Other times it might be because I've seen a review someplace. I review movies myself on a podcast and on other websites and such. So I do put a little bit of stock in the reviews, but usually if I read the review and it's poorly written and poorly done, I'm like, okay, well, automatically this qualifies that this person doesn't have a basic grasp of grammar. I'm not really going to trust their opinions. But yeah, there's just a variety of things that'll grab me on something to read.
I like to read the first page. And if the first page can grab me, then yeah, I'll pick it up.
Very good. Yeah, I was actually kind of wondering if that answer would come up, because for some people that is it. You know, they could have the greatest cover ever, which maybe that's what made them pick it up. But then once they actually read something, maybe not the back even, some people, you know, they pick up the book, open it up to the middle, and start reading. And if that works for them, then they take the book home.
Yeah, I can't do the middle thing because I have no basis for who are these people, what are they doing, how they get here, what's going on.
That you might find out something you don't want to know yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, see, my problem is if I buy the book, I'm committed to read it now.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I start watching a movie, I don't care how bad it is. You're talking to a man who owns a copy of Blood-Sucking Pharaohs from Pittsburgh, all right? I will, if I start it, I will finish the damn thing. It might take a while. I mean, I actually got all the way through, you know, Slaughtered Vomit Dolls, for God's sakes. I'm gonna read it, I'm gonna watch it. So, you know.
I have a friend who's a voracious reader, and she will jump. She won't read a book in order all the way through. She will start, she'll go to the end, she'll go to the middle, she'll read like 2 or 3 pages and go back, and that's how she does the whole entire book.
Wow.
As she linearly goes through it. I think it's the weirdest thing I've ever
I think they call that Tarantino disease.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's about it. We're just about out of time. Got less than a minute left. If there's any other questions from anyone, please feel free. If not, I'd like to thank you guys for your time, and thank everybody in the audience for coming in and sitting.
Thank you all for coming in.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Anybody want to plug anything?
Everything.
Yeah, everything. Come
It's on
visit the
Amazon.
table.
Come get
Come
it.
to the tables, please.
I have audio prologues of the book, as well as an extra short story on there for free. Just stop on my table, pick up a CD.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.